Hello and welcome back to another episode of this week's watches, and this week we have 10 incredible watches for you guys and girls, as always, ranging in price range, brand and everything in between. Now real quickly, because I'm going to talk about something a bit personal in a second, so if you are just here to see the watches, as always, down in the description there is a link to every single watch I'm showing here today. There's also a timestamp to skip to that specific watch, to obviously skip all the rambling and go straight to that. And also on the website you will see the price and everything like that. Now so the time this video goes out is Saturday. I'm aiming to be back in the office Monday, but again it will be subject to change just depending on how things go. Quite difficult to talk about, but me and my wife, we were expecting another baby. We've known about it for quite a while, and unfortunately our little boy can go on no longer. Obviously this video goes out Saturday. The Friday just gone the day tomorrow as of the time of recording this video. I apologise for all the mishaps with speaking today. Obviously it's a bit difficult, but I wanted to still get this video done, still get the drop up, because again the delays just compound and it makes it even more difficult coming back. So just doing my best, but unfortunately our little boy can go on no longer at 21 weeks, and Friday is when we will be saying goodbye, and going through all of that. So the reason I'm letting you guys know is because last week, the week before watching this, again, very confusing with all the times, but I've not really been in. I'm in today just to get things done, to get the drop done. But yeah, it's just been a very difficult time for me and my family and my wife especially. So I just appreciate all the patience. Obviously I put a little thing on Instagram just explaining, because whenever someone sees a business go quiet for a week, especially in this industry, all of a sudden people usually go to something very different. So just putting something out there just to let you guys know it's a personal matter. But yeah, so I really appreciate all the support. There's been a lot of really lovely messages, and it really does mean a lot. And I apologise if next week there's a couple of delays as well, and maybe I'm not as focused and as sharp as I usually am. You know, these things take time and I need to process that, but at the same time, obviously I have a business to run, and you know, our livelihood depends on this as well. So it's that sort of double-edged sword of running a business. It's the best thing in the world and gives me the freedom to be able to have last week off and really be there for my wife and for myself as well, my daughter. But yeah, it also means I've got to carry on at times as well. So I apologise if I'm not as energetic as usual, maybe as enthusiastic, but believe me, these watches were chosen because they're great watches and I really do like each and every single one. So please forgive me if my tone or demeanour is different in today's video and doesn't seem as energetic about them. You know, if they're still available in a couple of weeks and you want to, you know, the same details again, but in my usual way, you know, just ask for it and I'll do my best to get that done. But I want to still get the video out, still get the drop done, because as I say, a week delay just compounds and it's the last thing I want right now as well. So yeah, that's all out of the way. What's on wrist? I am wearing a Omega swatch, moon swatch. This is the Mission to Pluto, I believe. Really cool little thing. We picked it up Mission to Saturn, sorry. We picked up a little while ago at the Swatch store. They're actually available there now, and I've got it paired on a pigskin strap tailor strap. Is really lovely, suits the watch perfectly in my opinion, and a lot more comfortable than the straps these come on, which are not comfortable at all. So yeah, really cool watch, and that is what's on wrist. Now let's go on to what you are here to see, and that is the watches on the table. So we're going to start with this absolutely incredible 1971 Heuer Carrera. This is probably one of the nicest I've seen. It comes on an original Heuer beads of rice Gayfres bracelet as well. These just do not come up often to have a whole package like this good. Incredibly rare. So let's take a closer look at this one. What a watch to begin this week's episode with. I do want to start just by apologising if there's any background noise during this video. It seems I've chosen the one day this week where there's building work going on in the building, just typical. But anyway, so this is a really gorgeous Heuer Carrera automatic, as you can see, and this is specifically a reference 1153. Quite a rare early reference from circa 1971, and it features the automatic Heuer caliber 12, which for those of you that really know your stuff, you'll know that's one of the very early automatic chronographs in production, featuring a micro rotor, and it was basically like a stacked movement. You had your automatic module with the chronograph module on top, so very, very ingenious way of doing things, really. And again, it was very well sought after by a lot of brands and developed upon as time went on as well, which is kind of amazing. But what you're looking at right here is an all original example featuring its perfect tritium hands, tritium dial, just wonderful with its beautiful bright orange chronograph seconds. You can see there's no running seconds, and we have the original pushers, piston pushers as well, original signed Heuer crown right there on the left side, and as we start the chronograph you'll see that going around beautifully. So traditional chronograph, start, stop and reset. As I say, no running seconds, so you've got a 30-minute totalizer and a 12-hour totalizer over on the opposite side. Date down at 6 o'clock. The beautiful C case, which made this reference very famous. Thick case back as well, as I say, housing that automatic Heuer caliber 12, used by a few brands including Breitling and Hamilton and a couple of the others as well. They all sort of collaborated on that piece. Now, as mentioned, this is a original Heuer beads of rice bracelet made by the famous Guy Ferrez. For those of you that know your stuff, you'll see a G and F right on the clasp, if I can get that in focus. My apologies, camera doesn't want to play ball today. And you can see the goat right there as well. That's the symbol for Guy Ferrez. A famous bracelet maker who made bracelets for many, many, many companies, from Patek to Rolex to Heuer, as you see here, to Mido to Movado. You name it, they made bracelets for them. They were one of the most famous. So having that sign on the bracelet is very, very nice, and again it just means it's a great bracelet. But let's show this one on wrist and talk dimensions. And here we go, paired on my 7-inch wrist comfortably, as you can see. Bracelet will fit probably a 7.5-inch wrist. It's quite a big bracelet, which is nice, and this watch looks fantastic on a leather strap as well, so you've got plenty of options there. But dimension wise, it's 38mm by 44mm lug to lug, only 14mm thick, which is not really that thick considering there's a heavily domed acrylic crystal, and 19mm on the lug, so endless options for swapping that out. There's some great strap manufacturers including WatchGecko and many others who offer 19mm, so go check them all out. But check this one out on the website today. Now on some Omega Speedmasters, or one Omega Speedmaster I should say. We have this incredible 1995 Omega Speedmaster Apollo 11 tritium dial. It's come back recently from a 2023 Omega service, so it's got the service pouch, all the parts they replaced. They did replace the hands, but we've obviously got the hands, the original hands, still the tritium ones. We could always try and put them back on if you so wish, but at the moment it has the Omega service Luminova hands. It's not the end of the world, to be honest. The Omega hands are quite nice and they don't look that different. It's not like a Rolex Mercedes hand where you can see that white so glaringly against the sort of brown tritium. So it's not too bad, but let's take a closer look at this one. Speedmaster time with the Omega Speedmaster Apollo 11, which is a fantastic, slightly older reference. This one's from circa 1995, and what makes this one so great is you have that iconic Hesselite crystal front, which is plastic. And as you flip it over, you can see an exhibition case back. So this is one of the very few, if not only, I could be wrong on that, there may be a couple of others, but one of the very few references that feature a Hesselite front and also a sapphire back to see the movement. So you get best of both worlds, in my opinion, for not really a hell of a lot more than a standard one. The reference to this one is 3592.50, and inside there that you just saw is a manually wound Omega caliber 863. So it's not the 861, it's the 863, and that features just a little bit of higher finishing than the standard 861, because obviously this one is on display. They carried this on into the 1861 and the 1863. They're the same watch movement, but one has higher finishing for the exhibition caseback model. So again, the same thing applies here, but it's nice because you're getting one of the slightly older movements, not quite the 1863, but the 863, which is the step up from the 321, still very heavily Lamania based, which is really, really great to see. As I say, circa 1995, it doesn't come with any box or paperwork, unfortunately, and it has come back recently from a full Omega service, and the paperwork for that is included, as well as all the parts replaced, as usual, that Omega do. And as you can see, you have the original beautifully aging tritium dial, and you have Luminova hands that were replaced by Omega, and the original tritium hands are in a bag provided as well, so you've still got the original hands. You can see it comes on its original Omega Speedmaster bracelet, which is a very nice bracelet. It's not quite the modern bracelet, it's not quite the super old flat link, but it's a nice in-between, which is really great to see. But that's enough of the rambling. Let's show this one on wrist and taut dimensions. And here we go on my 7-inch wrist, a very, very good looking watch, and it looks fantastic. The watch has been polished by Omega. They've done a really good job. There are a couple of marks still on the watch, specifically at this lug up here where you'll see it on photos. But again, it's just the nature of these older watches being worn and enjoyed as they should be. So this is 42mm by 48mm lug to lug, 13.5mm thick, and 20mm on the lug. So endless options, and as everyone knows, the Speedmaster looks fantastic on a leather strap as well. So go check this one out on the website today. Next is a 2021 Omega Seamaster Heritage. This is one of the Seamaster 300 Heritage divers with the faux patina. Really, really cool design. Flat link bracelet. They've really sort of nailed this. It's definitely on the bigger side, the thicker side with the coaxial as well, but it's still very, very nice and very wearable. So let's take a closer look at that one. Omega Seamaster 300 Heritage Black, as you can see right here. So this is a really great watch based on one of the older Seamaster 300 models, but designed and sort of adapted for today's modern world. So you feature nice rotating bezel, really nice luminova hands and dial, which is like a sandwich dial. So the lume is actually a layer underneath, and there are cutouts in the dial, very similar to how Panerai do it, which creates a really nice looking effect. Screw down crown and a modern Omega flat link bracelet with the push adjust on the clasp to adjust on the fly. It does come with all of its links as well, and a nice exhibition case back, as you can see. Now I won't bore you with the reference to this one, it's quite a long reference, but what you see back there is the automatic Omega coaxial caliber 8912, which is a movement that they used for quite a while. As you can see, it features no date, but it does have 2 positions of the crown. Now when you pull out the first position, that allows you to adjust the hour hand independently, and it keeps the seconds running. So this is a great feature if you land, let's say, over in Italy, maybe 2-hour difference. You can just quickly go forward or back or whatever you need to do to change it without changing the actual time. So great for travelers and people who are going places regularly and just want to change that nice and easy, or when in the UK with daylight saving we go back or forward an hour. Again, nice and handy and easy to do. This one's from November 2021. It does come with its box and paperwork and all of its links, and it has been worn and enjoyed, again, as they should be, but it has never been polished, and as always we present them like this and give you the option. So if you would like this case and bracelet to be professionally refinished, just send us an email, let us know, and we can get it done for you at an additional cost and an additional time frame to delivery, as you would expect. But let's show this one on wrist and taut dimensions. And here we go on my 7-inch wrist. So definitely a larger watch, and it wears quite big, and it is a bit on the thick side, but again, super, super comfortable. And Omega definitely know what they're doing when it comes to wrist ergonomics with these watches. So it's 41mm by 48mm lug to lug, 13.5mm thick, and 21mm on the lug. So yeah, a little awkward, but there are options out there as well. Again, WatchGecko comes straight to mind for some really great strap options, but go check this one out on the website today. Next up is another Cartier tank, Basculante. I've had a few of these over the years. They've been fantastic. They sell really well. People really like them. This is the mechanical reference 2390, circa 2001. A very nice example. We had an engraving removed from the case back, from the flippy part of the case back, because obviously it's technically got 2 case backs, so we'll show you that, but it looks fantastic. To be honest, if I hadn't have said, I don't think people would have known it even had an engraving. That's how good of a job they've done. So let's take a closer look at that one. What do we have here? We have a Cartier tank Basculante. Now, that's a name that just a few years ago a lot of people had never even heard of, whereas now it seems like the new craze. Everyone wants a Cartier tank Basculante. This is a reference 2390, and it is a manually wound model with a beautifully patterned guilloche dial, as you can see. And as I mentioned, this one did have an engraved caseback, not this caseback you see, but the other caseback, which I'll show you in a second. And we had the grey engraving lasered and removed and then refinished. We didn't do the rest of the case because we thought we'd leave that down to the owner, or the new owner. If you do want to have the full case refinished, we can get that done for you, including the buckle as well. It does compared on its original Cartier leather strap and its original Cartier deploying buckle. And you can see right at the top at 12 o'clock you have a beautiful blue cabochon, and the crown is sort of recessed into the case. Now, for those of you that have never seen the Basculante before, it flips out as such. Sorry, I cut my nails the other day, so quite short on the nail front. Now as it comes out, you can see it pops up like so, and the watch itself can be flipped, pushed in, and then pushed back down, and that protects the dial. So this is at a time where a lot of people were playing sports with their watches. The first that comes to mind really is Polo with the JLC Reverso, but this is Cartier's own interpretation of it. They actually made a few models quite early on in the 30s, I believe, of a similar vein with a flippy dial like this, so it's not like they've just done it all this years later as the Reverso became popular again. There was historical relevance to Cartier doing it as well. But as you can see, really nicely done. And as we flip it back over, this is where you're able to access the crown and wind it. It is quite difficult, and inside is a manually wound Cartier 060MC, which is an adaptation of a Piaget movement. Really nicely done, but again, just be aware you do have to really properly wind this watch to get it going and for it to be enjoyed. So do keep that in mind. And as it flips back, off it goes in, and then you push it back down. Really nice and simple. Something else to keep in mind, the flippy mechanism is held together by screws on either side, and it can be a bit tighter or a bit looser in certain positions, so just keep that in mind. But again, that's perfectly natural and normal, and I've had many of these in and it's always been the same, so do just keep that in mind. This is circa 2001 with box, no paperwork, but they show on wrist and tour dimensions. And here we go, paired on my 7-inch wrist. A great looking watch, great proportions. It doesn't need to be any bigger or any smaller in my opinion. That is just perfect. So what you're looking at right here, dimension wise, is 25.5mm by 37mm lug to lug, only 6mm thick, so incredibly thin, and 20mm on the lug. So there are endless options. It is a screw bar, so you have to unscrew the bar to take the strap out, so do keep that in mind, and you have to reuse the screw bar as well. But it's easy enough done, so go check this one out on the website today. Now on to another Cartier, this time the Santos-Dumont large model as it's called, and this is the Quartz. Considering this is the large model, it's still very well proportioned. I actually think this is a pretty damn good size. The size smaller I would prefer personally, but this is still very wearable, very cool, and a great looking watch. So let's take a closer look at this one. Now on to the Cartier Santos-Dumont large case as it's called, and this is a really, really cool model. This is a Quartz model, so the reference is WSSA0022. Now again, I just have to apologize for any background noise. There's building work going on in the office buildings we're in. So I apologize, and I only have today to do this, so I've just got to work with it, so I do apologize. But the model right here, really, really cool piece. Really nice silver dial with a black exploding Roman numerals, blued hands as you can see, no seconds hand, which is nice with a Quartz model in my opinion, very reminiscent of early Cartier. You do have a polished bezel and brush case. This has not been polished before, and the bezel does feature scratches and wear as you'd expect with these raised polished bezels. We can have the case and buckle fully refinished if you wish, at an additional cost and time frame to delivery. But personally, I wouldn't recommend it. I'd say just enjoy the watch and get it done at a later date. There's no real need. Inside behind this screw down case back is a Quartz Cartier. Really nice case back, as you can see, very simply done. And this model is from December 2021 with its box and paperwork, Cartier buckle, and it is on a shorter leather strap, so do keep that in mind. But let's show it on wrist and talk dimensions. And here we go, comfortably paired on my 7-inch wrist. I only have 2 extra holes on the clasp, on the leather strap, sorry, for my wrist size, so do keep that in mind. But what you're looking at right here is 31.5mm by 43mm lug to lug, only 7mm thick, and 18mm on the lugs right here, and it features Cartier's new quick release strap system, which is nice and easy. And there are some strap makers out there making some nice aftermarket options, but to be honest, the Cartier ones aren't too expensive and they do look really nice, so go check this one out on the website today. Now on to a Grand Seiko. This one is the Ricker Summer Breeze High Beat with that beautiful green dial, the very, very famous case shape as well, and again priced incredibly well at under £4,000. I think this is going to be one that flies away quite quickly, so let's take a closer look at this one. Next up we have this gorgeous Grand Seiko, nicknamed the Ricker. This is a part of the Grand Seiko Summer Breeze Seasons collection, and it features that gorgeous green dial, which is incredibly subtle. In some lights it looks black, in other lights it looks vibrant green, in other lights a very dark green. Right now you're getting a bit of best of both worlds. You can see the gold accents as well with the gold hands and gold text. It really, really works and contrasts nicely against the green and the steel, to be honest. I think it's a really nice touch. So this is the reference SBGH271G, and inside behind this exhibition case back is a beautifully decorated automatic Seiko high beat caliber 9S85. That's one of Grand Seiko's high beat automatic calibers, really nicely done. The case is this really interesting shape, which Grand Seiko are famous for. Signed screw down crown right there, as you can see. And the bracelet is fantastic as well, this free link bracelet. Now, the bracelet has hardly been worn. The case, or the watch, however, has been worn. It's been put on straps. And unfortunately, the previous owner wasn't particularly that careful when changing the straps, so there are some scratches on the underside. And the watch itself has been worn, so there are some scratches that you'll see on the polished sides. But to be honest, it's very, very fair for a worn watch that's been enjoyed as they should be, as I always say. This one's from March 2023. It does come with its box paperwork, and as I say, the bracelet with all links included as well. So let's show this one on wrist and taut dimension. And here we go, paired on my 7-inch wrist. This case is fantastic. It's on the larger side, but it wears so incredibly well, and I don't think it's too big at all. It's not even close. And again, they've done a really good job of taking this old heritage case and really bumping it up to today's proportions and standards. So this is 40mm by 46.5mm lug to lug, only 12.5mm thick, 21mm at the lug, so a little awkward, but there are options, and it does have drilled lug holes to make strap changing nice and easy as well. But it looks fantastic on the bracelet, in my opinion. So go check this one out on the website today. Now, coming over to this side, we're going to go over to a Chronos Swiss. This is a Torah GMT chronograph, a very, very cool watch. I had sold this many years ago to a client. He's enjoyed it. He's barely wore it, to be honest, and he's really looked after it. And this gentleman has bought a lot of watches off me over the years, and he always looks after his watches very well, and if anything, they come back better. Sometimes he gets some service and things, and all stuff like that. But this is a really great watch, so let's take a closer look at this one. And next up, right here, you have this gorgeous Chronos Swiss, and this is the Torah GMT calendar chronograph, a very complicated but beautifully executed watch by Chronos Swiss. Very Breguet in its styling, with the Breguet numerals, the silver dial, the Breguet hands, which are blued to perfection. You have this coin or beveled edge as well, and the sides. Everything about it is very reminiscent, in my opinion, of classical Breguet in a very beautiful way. So right over here at 9 o'clock, you have your running seconds. You also have your GMT, which can be functioned via this blue pusher as well. You have your dates over there at 3 o'clock. You have your chronograph seconds as normal. You have a 30-minute totalizer at 12 o'clock and a 12-hour totalizer at 6 o'clock. So again, a lot of functionality in this watch, and again, all beautifully laid out as well. So very thought through very well. Apologies for muddling up my words. So this is a reference CH7423. As we flip it over, you're presented via a gold rotor and a nicely decorated automatic movement. That is an automatic Chronos Swiss caliber C743. You can read more about that on our website as well, and obviously by doing a little bit of research. But it's I believe, an ETA base that's been modified by Chronos Swiss, a brand that do some great stuff. Now, this model is from circa 2005. It does come with its box and paperwork. Unfortunately, the paperwork is unsigned, but it's all there. And this is its original strap with its original buckle as well. And you can see all the box shots and all the details on the website. But let's show this one on wrist and taut dimension. And here we go, on my 7-inch wrist, comfortably, as you can see. It's definitely on the thicker side, but that's to be expected with all that complication. But it wears the thickness very well, in my opinion, and hides it within that case. So what you're looking at is 38mm by 48mm lug to lug, 15mm thick and 20mm on the lugs with screw lug bars. So do remember you have to use those when swapping out the strap, but it's easily enough done once you've done it once or twice. So go check out this watch on the website today. Now onto a Smith's Everest, but this is just no standard Smith's Everest. This is the Silver Jubilee with the Aventurine dial, a fantastic watch. Again, I've had multiple of these over the years. They always sell incredibly well, and the prices have really sort of crept up, but this one's still under £1,000, which is where they should be, in my opinion. Limited to 500 watches total, so they're not going to get any more of these. But let's take a closer look at this incredible watch. Now for a really wonderful Smith's Everest, and this is the Jubilee edition, as you can see, featuring that gorgeous Aventurine dial. Now Aventurine is a type of stone that gives off this really gorgeous speckle effect. Is one of my favorites, as you can see, with that blue and purple. It kind of looks like a starry night, and I think is really, really wonderful. So this is the PRS 25 Everest Silver Jubilee to celebrate 25 years of Smiths selling online. Obviously, since Smiths has been rebought, it's limited to 500 pieces. and sold out pretty much immediately, as I'm sure you can imagine. It comes on a Jubilee bracelet with a Smith's signed crown, clasp, screw down crown, and a nice closed case back with the Jubilee stated on there and the limited edition number as well. Inside is an automatic Miyota caliber 9039, so part of the 9000 series, which is a higher grade Miyota caliber, very much in line with sort of the 6 series from Seiko, so like the 6R35 and all that kind of stuff, a very good movement. And this one's from December 2021 with its little box and paperwork, and it comes with all of its links as well, as you'd expect. Not a huge amount to say on this one because the feature is that dial, and you can see exactly why it's one you're either going to love or you're not, and I will be surprised if you don't enjoy this. So let's show it on wrist and talk dimensions. And there we go, comfortably paired on my 7-inch wrist, as you can see. It's perfect proportion, but that's no surprise given the 36mm case. So that's 36mm by 44mm lug to lug, 11mm thick, and 20mm on the lug, so endless options, drilled lug holes to make strap changing nice and easy. But to be honest, it looks great on the Jubilee as well. So go check this one out on the website. Now onto my favourite on the table, a watch I wish I could keep, but obviously I can't keep them all. This is a 1958, incredibly early, Tissot T12 Visiday automatic with its original fully sprung Tissot bracelet, which again is made by Gayfrez. It's not signed Gayfrez, but I have information that these were made by Gayfrez, and there are Gayfrez signed versions, but also unsigned versions made for Tissot basically. So really, really great piece. But let's take a closer look at this one. So as I said, my favorite from this week's drop, it is a really gorgeous vintage Tissot. This is a vintage Tissot T12 Visiday automatic from 1958, making it one of the earliest T12 Visidates that were made, and you can see that via the design, the overall aesthetic, and just how beautiful it is. And what you're looking at right there is the original cream dial, which even has some tritium burn on the dial where the hands have stayed for quite a while. Down here at 6 o'clock, they're the original tritium handset as well, which are really short for the watch. Kind of amazing really that they chose that. Beautiful dagger indices with the pleats around the side and tritium as well, all proudly stated there. Date of 3 o'clock with a nice date surround and central seconds, as you can see. Really nice case shape in 35mm as well, quite fat lugs, very reminiscent of sort of Amigas of a similar period. And one thing that just really caught my attention immediately is that original old Tissot crown with Tissot written in that old type font, which is my favorite type font of Tissot. Very, very cool to see, as you can see on the dial, proudly stated as well. And then as we flip it over, it just gets even better. Right there you see the original signed Tissot ship case back, something you do not see often, and that is laser engraved or engraved on there, so that would have faded quite quickly if it had been polished at any point. So it's nice to see that still remaining, and on later models they made that applied as in like a 3-dimensional case back, which is really cool, but it's great to see how it started. Now the reference to this one is 67012-3, and inside is a very, very early automatic Tissot caliber 28.5R-621, and as I say, this is circa 1958. The other fantastic thing about this watch is this bracelet. This is an original Tissot bracelet made by Gayfrez, not signed Gayfrez, but later bracelets were signed Gayfrez. This was made for Tissot by Gayfrez, so therefore he didn't put his mark on there for whatever reason. Tissot probably paid more for that at the time. But what makes this bracelet so great is the whole thing is sprung. So each one of these links features little springs, which is really amazing. Obviously it's a bit more fragile given the age, but it still works perfectly well and springs back nicely, as you can see. Very rare to find this kind of thing. So let's show it on wrist and talk dimensions. And here we go, proudly shown on my 7-inch wrist. The case proportions are perfect for this one. At 35mm by 43mm lug to lug, 12mm thick and 19mm on the lugs with drilled lug holes again to make strap changing nice and easy. And there are plenty of options out there from WatchGecko and other brands for 19mm that would look great on this. And this is the kind of watch that would look great on the bracelet or on a leather strap. If you're going to wear it regularly, I would probably personally recommend taking off the bracelet and preserving it for special occasions, because what you don't want to do is ruin this bracelet, because chances of finding one or repairing it is very, very difficult, and plus the watch looks great on a leather strap as well. So go check this one out on the website today. And finally, a very cool Seiko Quartz. This is a connoisseur Gold bezel, really interesting little piece, and again from 1980, circa February 1980 to be exact. It comes on its original strap and buckle as well. Pretty much like near new old stock condition. There's a little sticker on the back still. You probably won't find better. So let's take a closer look at this one. Next up is a Seiko Quartz connoisseur with a very interesting bezel, case shape and lug design, as you can see, all beautifully done with these extended wire lugs that protrude from the case. And you can see here attached via basically a bar on the case back. Original sticker still on the case back. The watch has got marks, it has been worn, but it's as close to pretty much new old stock as you're going to get, unless you do find a genuinely new old stock example, which I don't know if they exist. They may do, but you have original cabochon crown, original dial, original case, and this is even the original leather Seiko strap with its gold plated Seiko Quartz buckle, as you can see. Now, if you are going to wear this regularly, I would highly recommend a new strap, because this strap obviously is quite worn and old, as you'd probably expect for a watch from circa February 1980. Now, this is the reference 6020-5360, and that means inside is a Seiko Quartz caliber 6020. We've had the movement fully checked, new battery, and it's good to go. It doesn't come with any box or paperwork, unfortunately, but it's a very beautiful design and something quite rare. You can even find original advertisements online from this watch in magazines and things like that, which is really cool to see. But let's show this on wrist and talk dimensions. And here we go, comfortably paired on my 7-inch wrist. Now, would some people say it's a ladies' watch? Sure, but to be honest, it looks great on a gent's wrist as well. In my opinion, anyway, that looks great on me, and I would totally wear this comfortably. So this is 28.5mm by 36mm lug to lug, only 4.5mm thick, which is insanely thin, and 16mm on the lug, so you can totally swap that out. We may even have some 16mm options, so do request that if you are interested, but go check this one out on the website. So there you have it, guys and girls, 10 watches this week, again ranging from everything. And again, I just want to say a real big thank you for everyone's patience and understanding during this time. People, you've all been really, really great, and it really does mean a lot. It allows me to continue. Any payments or anything like that that's been scheduled, that's still going out as normal, and I'm still doing my best to get back to emails and do all that kind of stuff, but I apologise if there is a bit of delay, which I'm sure you can all appreciate and understand. And as always, or specifically now, if you need to get hold of me, please do email info@kibblewatches.co.uk. Please refrain from calling or anything like that, just because if I do answer, I'm probably not going to be the best on the phone. So just email and wait for me to get back to you if it's not too urgent, which I suspect it won't be. It's watch related. As much as I love these things, it's not the end of the world. It can wait a couple of days. So thank you all very much for your understanding and patience, and we'll see you all again next week. Another incredible drop lined up with some incredible pieces, a couple of which are already sold. So yeah, we'll see you all again next time. Take care.